But it's, and I wanted people to feel, to laugh, but also to feel anxious, you know, tense, because that's what it must have felt like at the time.
How to make a movie like this? Did you have the opportunity to shoot something in Moscow, to make research?
Certainly research, yes. I went to Moscow, I went to Stalin's statue and the Kremlin and Stalin's bunker and the apartments where all the party leaders lived. I spoke to people in Moscow who grew up under Stalin, and we tried to recreate that as much as possible. We shot it mostly in London, but we tried to recreate it as much as possible. And then the street scenes, the night scenes, the guards, the roads, the knocking on the doors, that was all shot in Ukraine. That was all shot in Kiev. In fact, the production company gave me a T-shirt at the end, which I can't wear anywhere because it says it says "Fuck Putin, film in the Ukraine." But it's and then we went to Moscow to film, you know, the Kremlin Red Square and the exterior of the buildings. Yes.
It's an ensemble movie.
Yeah.
And in this case, the star is the movie and not the actor.
Well, I like to think the cast is the star. You know?
How to create a coherence? How to create a so nice cast?
Well, one at a time. Simon Russell Beale, who plays Beria, in the UK, he's known as a stage actor, a theatre actor, not a cinema actor. So he's unknown, and I like the idea that he was unknown to cinema audiences, but also Beria, I think, was unknown to cinema audiences in the West. So I like the idea of someone unknown playing him. Then once you have Simon, who's the opposite? And I thought Steve Buscemi is very loud and gesticulates. I said to Steve, Khrushchev is a little bit Italian in that we like to talk with our hands all the time, you know, and do that. And so we do it one at a time. So I have Simon and I have Steve, and you think, okay, who should be the son and the daughter? And then you gradually work out one at a time until you build up this whole ensemble.
You mentioned theater work.
Yes.
Did you try to, because there is a part a little bit like Huis Clos, the first part.
Yeah.
Did you have the opportunity to rehearse?
We do, yes, we did. We spent 2 weeks rehearsing because so much of it is about them understanding each other, and especially the people who work with Stalin, they went through that for like 20 years, so they must look like they've worked with each other. And also, you know, the big ensemble comic scenes, you know, the lifting of the body and bringing it to the bed and going over, and Steve Buscemi at the funeral doing the kind of the walk around. We worked all that out in the rehearsals, and it meant that it felt like day one of the shoot was like opening night, you know, because we had it all ready. And it meant that when we shoot, we can shoot the whole scene continuously. I don't have to stop them all the time and work out the next bit. And it gets that momentum going, and it becomes, that's when it becomes a true ensemble.
When you have to summarize historical facts like this in 19 minutes movie, you do all the choices when you wrote the script with the comic, or you recreate the movie at the editing part after?
A little bit. We shot more than is in the film, and in the edit, because I knew the edit was really about getting the right tone, the right balance between the comedy and the terror, really, and they both had to help each other. So in the edit, there were funny scenes that I took out because I felt they were too much, and there were graphic, violent scenes that I took out because I felt they were too much. I wanted the only moment of close-up violence to be right at the end. Everything else prior to that is sort of in the distance or heard or suggested, or so the edit was really about finding the tone. Yeah.
At the beginning of this conversation, you say, I want to do a movie about a dictator.
Yes.
You made a TV series about female vice president.
Yes.
You made an English movie about politics.
Yes.
Why politics are so appealing?
Well, it's so, it's important. It's I want politics to work because it affects all our lives, And having done Veep in America for 4 years, I thought I'll try and get away from American politics as much as possible. So why not do something about a delusional narcissist who terrifies his own country? And then, as I was editing the film, Donald Trump was elected. I think I can't get away from it. And that's why it's important. This happened 65 years ago, but Donald Trump today was saying that the raid on his lawyer's office was an attack on the country. That's what he's saying. He's saying, I am the country. If you oppose me, you're a traitor, he's implying. And I find that dangerous talk. I'm not saying he's a mass murderer, yet, but but I find that dangerous. I find that frightening. And so if we say, because a lot of us have grown up only knowing democracy, and if we start saying, well, is there something different? Well, okay, that's what's different.
You mentioned America in the studio system. All is very separate. Generally, you have the script writer, the second script writer, the first, the second, the third draft.
Yeah.
And after that, the director.
Yeah.
You based in London.
Yeah.
You work for the States, but also for European production. And I have the feeling it's very, very important for you to be author and director.
Sort of. I mean, I'm trying not to be. If I'm a dictator, I hope I'm a benevolent dictator, and I like to encourage. I like to work with a group of writers, and I like to get actors in who will improvise. Because although we work very, very hard on the script, a long time on the script, I then think my job as director is to then make the film look like it's not written, that in fact it's spontaneous. So I say at that point, it's not about, at this point as you make the film, it's not about trying to translate the script into a film, it's about making the film. And therefore the script is important, but so is the the cast, so is the music. That's an important feature, which we recorded in Galaxy Studios in Belgium. And a great Belgian orchestra who, 85-piece orchestra who played that wonderful score. Every aspect of it is just, in the end, is about the film, is about what goes on up there. And at that stage, I don't care who did what or how long we spent on the script. If we come up with a funny scene on the day, we'll use that. It's whatever makes that as good as possible.
You mentioned some actors. We have, of course, we want to talk shortly about Michael Palin.
Yes.
Is it a discreet tribute to the Monty Python spirit?
A little bit. I've always thought Michael Palin is the best actor in Monty Python, and I've always enjoyed him as an actor, and I don't know why he hasn't done more films, so I was so pleased he said yes to this. And his speech in the meeting in the middle, the kind of unanimously, I'm so glad that he had that speech, because it was written, there's something Python-esque about a guy who doesn't really know what to believe other than whatever he's told to believe, trying to work out what to do next.
There is something really paradoxal and very tricky, because the American system like to market movies, to put in boxes, and then you have a comedy called The Death of Stalin.
I know, it's a comedy. I keep saying this in America. I was saying it's got Death and Stalin in the title, but it is a comedy. And I just hope that they believe me. And that's why, actually, I was very pleased that Gaumont were. I wanted it to be a European film, because there was that less of a pressure to make it for America, and more to make it just for itself, to make the best version of the idea as we could, really. So there wasn't any pressure to to make it commercial.
You worked in, you know quite well the two philosophies, the two systems. You worked for HBO.
But then their philosophy is make it as good as possible, because they want people to watch their channel. They'll only pay to watch it if it's got good product on it, good programs on it. So their philosophy has always been, how can we make this better?
Then you believe that a movie like this is not a prototype. It's possible to do a very original movie like this nowadays. It's not too difficult.
Well, if you keep the budget down and the shoot was only 7 weeks, it was a shot, so it's very contained. So you keep the risk down in terms of how much it cost, I think, for those involved. But it also helps when you have very supportive financiers like Omar.
And actors go quickly in a project like this?
Yes, and it's not it doesn't take up their whole year. It's a bit of fun. You get people Steve Buscemi was great to work with, and he just, as soon as he saw the script, he said, he said, I don't know how I'm going to do Khrushchev, but you tell me. Rupert Friend, who plays Vasily, Stalin's son, was really known mostly in America from Homeland as a kind of sniper. He had a great time just being drunk, shooting his gun off. And quite a lot of his stuff we improvised on set. That big the long fight with the guard to get the gun off. We just decided that on the day because it just looked so funny that we just said, okay, next one, we'll let you do it for as long as you can do it. We won't interrupt you. And we'll see what happens.
I guess it's impossible to release a movie like this in Russia.
Well, you'd think. We nearly got there. Nearly. I mean, it was given a license. It was dubbed into Russian. I did a whole day with the Russian press. Press screenings went ahead. Reviews were prepared. And then 2 days beforehand, the license was withdrawn by the Minister of Culture. And I think it was somebody worrying that their boss might not like it. It was the lead up to the Russian presidential election. Maybe they thought that it would affect the election, because I know Putin is very much against the idea of a foreign country interfering in the election of another country. He despises that. That's a red line he will not cross. So maybe that made them a bit nervous, I don't know. Anyway, I'm still here.
Is somebody curious? Other questions in the audience? Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions? Désolé, mais tellement passionnant que j'oublie de traduire. Mais apparemment, vous riez beaucoup, donc vous comprenez tout. Your English is very, very clear and perfect.
Thank you. That is my only language.
I don't have to translate this one. Une question là, mademoiselle.
Oui. Yes, the microphone.
J'arrive. Merci. Merci. Je suis intéressé. Est-ce possible de demander une question en anglais? Okay, merci. Hi.
Thank you. Okay.
As you can probably hear, I'm Scottish, like you.
Lovely. Thank you.
Yes. I'm currently studying for my doctorate in political philosophy in a post-Soviet country, and I've just been living in Albania, which was Stalinist for 40 years after Stalin died. So I just wanted to say thank you for making this, because I think it's really important that people get to see just how bad it was. And on the point of false narratives and competing for truths, you made another movie with a similar theme with Malcolm Tucker. And in all the countries in Europe that I've been living and working in, it seems very obvious to everyone that the UK itself is in a stage of sort of breakdown itself. So I was wondering, as a fellow Scot who opened by apologising for Brexit, maybe you could resurrect Malcolm Tucker in order to get Scotland back into Europe and Brussels.
I think that would have to be in real life rather than in fiction. I mean, my problem is I feel I can't do a fiction about now because it's not funny. or what's really happening is more absurd than any fiction could be. That's the problem I find. I think now there was someone who's...
Yes.